Welcome to Seth's Daily Podcast. Without you guys, this wouldn't be possible. And thank you guys for subscribing. On for the second time, we were blessed enough to have Russ Kellett, UFO hunter from the UK, man. And how are you doing, mate?
Hi there, Seth. Not too bad, thanks. Yourself?
I'm doing great, man. Excited to have you on and excited to talk about your new upcoming book and stuff.
Right, yeah, well, we've had it in one of the newspapers today. It's been promoted today by a place called the Leader, Wrexham Leader, North Wales. And that's it. As you can see, a flying saucer crash landed, and those are the occupants looking very perturbed. And yes, they are wearing belt kits, and one of them is carrying some kind of firearm, a weapon. Now, this took place back in 1974, the 23rd of January, 1974, at a place called the Berwyn Mountains, which is in North Wales. And 5 gentlemen were on the way home from a meeting this particular evening, and they came across this, crash site, the side of the road, and there was 5 aliens, and there was 2 of them seemed to be having some trouble. They'd been helped by the other occupants of the craft, like they'd been in some kind of difficulty. Obviously, it looked like the craft had actually crash landed. So obviously, it looked like it was injuries. So no sooner had they pulled up and they were looking over in this field at this site, can you imagine that? You're driving home talking, you've been to a meeting and what's that? There's like a flying saucer landed and there's 5 aliens, and what would you have been thinking? What on earth would you have been thinking if you'd have come across that? That's why, wow. I know I've seen it myself. I've seen aliens myself, so I know. But for the first time, wow, incredible. So no sooner had they got out of the car and they were looking and talking, look at this, and all of a sudden they were surrounded by what you could only describe as soldiers. So there's soldiers all around them now, and one of them comes over and talks to them, tells them they've got to leave the area. The soldiers have got rifles and they've been told get out of the area. So the older man had been in the army himself, and he was sort of like trying to tell them, look, we're not going, what's going on here? And he was told, you've got to leave the area for your own safety. And, basically the rifles were pointing at them. Leave the area now, go home. So they carried on the journey home, but one of them decided, he said, let's pull over, I'm going to take some photographs. I've got a camera in the back of the car. So apparently there were photographs taken from an hillside overlooking. Well, that area, there's no matter where you go, there's always hills. There's like a lot of hills in North Wales and vantage points. So apparently, I've never seen the pictures, but there were supposed to have been photographs taken on that night. So what happened was, this now is years later, and I'd had my experience of an abduction, close encounter, contact, abduction. So I started investigating and I set my own group up. So this was the Bradford UFO Research organisation, I think, if I remember rightly. It's going back 30 years now. So I'm looking into finding out what's going on, what's behind people being abducted. You know, these UFO reports, these UFO sightings, just what is it about? Although deep down, I actually knew what it was about because I'm living this hell, you know, being abducted. Every time I went out on my motorbike or my scooter, you know, something had happened. I'd end up going down this tunnel and end up in this room having an injection, these tall humanoid figures walking around in these tight uniforms. And, you know, so for my own, from like my own purpose, I set up this group to find out if anybody else was seeing what I'd seen. Had anybody else been abducted by these same creatures? So really, well, a selfish reason in a way that I'd actually started the group because I wanted to know, you know, has anybody seen what I've seen? So now it's in the late 90s and I'd made a bit of a push forward in the newspapers and been on television and quite a few radio stations. And there were all sorts of things happening back then. X-Files were, you know, started, and there was a lot of TV programs talking about the unexplained, paranormal and UFOs and aliens, abductions, etc. So it was a fantastic time, you know, that time, fantastic. Meeting people, going out, researching, investigating, you know, people contacting you and telling you what they've had happen to them. So I'd spoken to this gentleman in North Wales and he joined our group and he was seeing all sorts of things, him and his wife. And I'd gone over to meet him. And when I was over there talking to him, it became apparent that, you know, this area was a hot spot. There was a lot going on over there. So he took us around a lovely place full of castles, mystic place. You know, the Snowdonia mountain range, fantastic. This is, again, where there's the myth of legends and Arthurian, you know, the legend of Arthur and Merlin goes back to this, you know, this area, Snowdonia. So there's all sorts of things as well around us. One of the oldest books, I think it's called the Mabinogion. It's a Welsh name, Mabinogion. I do, if I remember rightly, think it means tales, youthful tales, you know, youthful stories. And one of the stories is about two dragons fighting in the sky. So, you know, could there be two like alien races, you know, fighting? Makes you wonder, you know, all these things are entering your mind and you try to think, well, going back then, talking about dragons and Merlin, you know, the magician, and all sorts of strange, you know, things and battles and knights that are going to fall asleep under this mountain and one day wake up when the country needs them, when there's a great battle, a great war will take place between good and evil. So I'm thinking, I hope it's not in my lifetime. I don't fancy seeing a battle, you know. I'm not into wars, you know. So we're looking around and there's all sorts of things to see and these mysterious places and castles. And so we sat down talking and looking around where these UFO reports have come in around Conway. Then we'd gone over to the coast and we'd basically been looking around at quite a number of UFO reports that had come in. And there's some coming in a place called the River Dee. and the de-estuary that goes out into the sea around Liverpool Bay. So what happens is I arranged to go back to Wales later on. And my friend Llewellyn, what happens is Llewellyn calls me and he tells me that he's had a meeting and he's spoken to one of these men, the youngest one, that was in the car driving home that night when they came across these 5 aliens that had crash landed in this flying saucer. And, you know, they've got a story to tell if I was interested. Anyway, apparently, there was wanting to make contact and meet up with me. And I arranged to go back to my friend's home and to meet them at his home one evening. But things didn't happen. Things didn't happen as planned. They didn't go to plan because these men had been frightened, you know. And what they'd said was, when there was actually investigating this case and they looked back to see where this craft had come from, and they did a lot of research there. And they give me a lot of research documentation later on. But what happened was that there was basically frightened. Something had scared them so much. Now, they'd found out the code name and everything for this operation, which was to attack these flying saucers. So this operation was called Condor, right? So they had a place where the soldiers were based, where this operation was run from, about 10 miles away from where this craft came down, right? So anyway, the meeting didn't go well, and I got a call saying that these guys are really scared. They're scared for their life. Something frightened them when there was researching. There was like a couple of years researching into what happened that night. And now they've, you know, basically come to give you information and to talk to you and to explain what happened. Things have started to go wrong for them again. So was there somebody watching these men? The same people that had been watching that put the frighteners up them, that scared them off when they were researching, you know, when this happened in 1974. So, you know, it made it very, very hard for me to research because these guys had left me a statement and they told us what happened. There was a battle took place out to sea, out in the Irish Sea, and there was depth charging these craft underwater, and these craft came up out of the sea and attacked the actual what do you call them, the minesweepers and depth chargers that actually attacked those boats. Then what had happened, the shot on a frigate, a battleship, and this battleship had been hit and it had melted the bow of the ship and it had boiled the sea. So the weapon from the flying saucer hitting this battleship had actually melted the battleship, and the sea made it bubble. You know, there were casualties, there were people blinded, disorientated. Now, what was said was, on one of these ships, there were crates and it said NASA, right? Yeah, said NASA on these crates. Now, you're the first person I've told this on the radio station about this on a podcast and what have you. So this is the first time it's come out now.
Wow.
So let me see. Where do we go from here now? So I've been investigating this for like almost 30 years. So this is what this book's about. It's about my investigations into that happening. Now, in it, what we've got a load of documents, like them documents there that have been scanned in, and the police reports from the night, major incident logs. The major incident logs do not tally with what people are talking about. Right, yeah? So, they're talking about, lights in the sky and all this, and there's UFOs being reported on 4 occasions in the police log, right? So also, we've got explosions and detonations taking place. Why would you have explosions and detonations taking place? Don't make any sense. So what happened was, when I was investigating this, a soldier, a sergeant, got in touch with me, and I've got all my conversations when I was researching and investigating all the cases were taped. So I've got the tape of the sergeant telling me what had happened on that night. So there was him and his group, and they were doing a job close by, and something went wrong, and there was thinking about having to basically move everybody out of the area. Right, yeah. So what have they done? So to evacuate the whole area, what was going on? Now, what it said was they'd been excavating. So we've got a military team excavating around an area where there's UFOs flying around and landing, out to sea there's a battle taking place. Now, what we found out later on was that there was said to be an underground base, an alien underground base. Then we was told there was an underwater base. So now, I'm just trying to get an idea with that. So, what is going on? So apparently, it would seem that the military had had enough of these flying saucers coming out of the sea and flying around, and for some reason, and I don't know 100% yet, but they were causing problems for the military, and they thought there was going to have to take some action against them. So did they take action against them? As in, did they try to destroy the underground bases and undersea bases? And this is what led to this, what I've called it, basically, there was so much going on, right, yeah? An alien invasion of Wales, right? So the thing is, it didn't only happen on that night, it carried on and it kept on. We've got other maps, we've got other information where it would seem that it was just, something that had happened, it had started, and it continued. It was going on. So it's like, you could say it's like the first wave, the first attack, and it carried on. And they lost more flying saucers. So what was said was that these aliens at the side of the road was taken away to a special operations unit about 10 miles away, and the craft was taken on a flatbed vehicle, and they could just push this flying saucer, they could just push it onto the back of a flatbed vehicle. It was still hovering, and these soldiers got out, one of them got inside, and they just managed to just manhandle it onto the back of this flatbed vehicle, this military vehicle, and take it away. Now, it was supposed to have been taken away to this unit. It would have been a military facility, but it dealt with aircraft, and it dealt with aircraft from the Second World War, and the made aircraft at this big factory, which again was about 10-15 miles away. So, you know, they're taking it away. What was it going to do? It didn't look like it needed back engineering because it was intact. You know what I mean? The thing was intact. You know, it makes you wonder whether they learned to control it and got somebody to fly it. You know? So that is what the book's about, and it's about my research and getting all this paperwork from the police, from the actual incident log, the major incident log, and it says explosion. Now, the thing is, what they're saying is that there was an earthquake. But the thing is, there's 3 areas where it said there was an earthquake, right? So there's only one earthquake, but yet there's 3 areas pinpointed, right? And each one of those areas, it gives you a different value of the actual earthquake, what you call the reading for those earthquakes, right? So we've got, on the Richter scale, we've got 3.5, but we've also got 4. But we've also got 4.5 on the Richter scale. So we've got 3 different values there, 3.5, 4, and 4.5 on the Richter scale. Wait a minute, if there's only one earthquake, how have we got 3 areas and 3 different values? It's like there must have been 3 different earthquakes then.
Yeah.
Right? But here's the best one. It starts off, the earthquake was registered at the British Geological Survey Department. Right, yeah, the British Geological Society. And it happened at 8:38. So everybody's out talking in the streets, you know, the houses have shaken, they've got plaster cracking in the houses, they've got things falling off the walls inside, you know, like mirrors and stuff, chandeliers rocking around, you know, sort of like there's plates flying off the tables and stuff. Now, the thing is, the first report comes in from somebody who is an academic, right? And he's saying at 8:32, this is 6 minutes before the official 8:38 recording of the actual, call it earth tremor or earthquake, and he's talking about it before it's happened. How does that work?
I guess he's a psychic.
You know, and he's telling the police, you know, this has happened, that's happened. Then he's asked to actually make a report out and to let them know what's happened. He's never been to the area. How can he tell them what's happened if he hasn't been? But yeah, he knew 6 minutes before the actual earthquake happened. Then they're talking about lights that have been seen down in London and the four counties down there, travelling up towards North Wales. Now, they're saying it could have been a meteor. But if you look and you see these objects are travelling to North Wales and they're pinpointing saying they're coming down, how do they know it's coming down in this area? But the problem is, how you've ever seen a meteor in the sky traveling, right?
Go fast as lightning.
And the straight from one horizon to the other, right? In seconds. So the thing is, this is like 200 miles away, and it's taken 2 hours for a meteorite to go from London to North Wales. How is that possible? That's not a meteorite. Yeah, I could run faster. You know, and there's so many strange things. There's so many strange things. There's craft that have been seen to land in different areas. There's a man talking there in a phone box, and he's reporting this, and he's saying, on the mountain range, there's a massive, I can see a fire, right? So you look on the police log and it says, the fire service have been informed, right? They're on standby. Now, the thing is, if somebody rung in and they thought that there'd been an aircraft crash landed and there were casualties, you don't just have the fire, and you can see a fire over on the mountain, right? You don't go, oh yeah, there's somebody's reported a fire, a big fire. It must have been big for him to see where he was stood. I've been in that actual phone box and looked across, right? Now the thing is, you don't just say the fire service are on the nature of all the services, right? The emergency services, they're always on standby. You wouldn't say that. What you do is you would send out those fire appliances, right, to that area where there's a fire, wouldn't you? Because if there's a fire there, is there a craft there? Are people there? But they never did. They never sent anybody out there. So like, what is going on? Just what is going on? There's things that do not make sense. There's things that do not make sense. So then what we've got helicopters landing. And we've got people wearing like some kind of spacesuits, carrying like briefcases, walking down this village. We've got a lady who I was giving a talk in this pub, and I says, did you see anything? Because her husband says she's got something to tell you. What did you see? What did you see, love? And she says, I saw army men walking down the street. And do you mean soldiers? Yes, soldiers. I said, how many? 10, 20? Oh, no. 40? No. 50? Oh, double. What, 100? 100 soldiers walking down a village. And someone shouted, oh, no, you didn't see that. This woman shouts, you didn't see it. She said, I did. She said, well, what did you see? So this woman says, I was told not to look out of my window. So she said, well, so you didn't see anything then? So she said, so how can you tell me what I saw, what I didn't see, if you didn't look out of your window? I'm not joking, Seth. I thought there was going to be a fight in that pub. These women were really, really having a go at each other. Then I'm talking to a witness who's been on the television and told us he's met the police, have gone up in his dad's Land Rover because the police car couldn't get up this certain dirt path, right, yeah, to overlook this area where this thing is supposed to have landed, right? And as I'm talking to him, a bloke comes, looks at me, goes over and says something to him, right, yeah, in a different language, in the Welsh language. My friend, Llewellyn, he's sat and his wife, and he says to me, do you know what he just said? And I said, what? He said he just told him not to tell you anything. Why would he do that? He's always on the television talking about what he'd seen. So why had he clammed up? Why all of a sudden, you know, had he been told, no, don't tell him anything? Why? You know? So very, very strange, Seth, very, very strange. So what we've got is, by the sounds of things, we have got underground bases and underwater bases, undersea bases, which belong to the aliens. Now, apparently, our country and the UK is riddled with its honeycomb, like with these underground tunnels and bases. Some supposed to belong to us, and some are supposed to belong to them. So, you know, just what is going on, Seth? Just what is going on, mate?
I believe it sounds like a war is going on, man.
Well, yeah. I mean, the thing is, when I've been abducted and I was put into a military unit, you know, we fought the aliens that took us, the tall, white, bald aliens, right? Yeah. We were fighting their enemies. And believe me, they've got many enemies. Now, they're not all aliens. Some people are abductees from this planet fighting, you know, for other alien races. You know, which is frightening, really. When you think about it, it's frightening. You know, because the thing is, if you look at it realistically, yeah, that means that there's a war going on, and there's a war been going on. I mean, this is like 30 years of my life. You know, and you know, the thing is, there's not only me that I've spoken to other people that have been abducted, and it's happened to them. You know, so there's something going on. You know.
Yeah, it's definitely what you said about water, man. Like around here, my UFO sighting, I live around the lake, and I had a UFO sighting here, and I know other people that have had UFO sightings around the lake. So yeah, I mean, I believe here too they have bases in the water as well.
Yeah. You see, one of the things what we found out was on the night on this map. If you have a look where the actual flying saucers came in, a place called Penman Mouth, it came in and it headed straight down, and the fighter jets were following them, and then one sneaks up in front, and the new fighter jets at the time called Harriers, and these had the capability of being able to hover. So it looks like they took them by surprise, and that, you know, they'd actually hit and destroyed one to start off with, and it looks like they'd hit another 2 or 3 of these flying saucers, these craft. Now, what it looks like on the maps, it looks like they're trying to get away from the jet fighters by going into water, by going into lakes. So if they're chasing them, what happens is the UFOs will go down and go into the water, and the jet fighters will fly past them and go looking for them. Right, yeah? And by the time they've come back and they're looking, they can't see them. So there's only one alternative. They've, gone into the sea or into the lakes. So then what they do is they come back out when the aircraft has gone back, like for a second run to turn round, it looks like they've come out and gone in the opposite direction. You know what I mean? Sort of like playing cat and mouse with them. So, these things, it's like someone says, it's like flying submarines, aren't they, really?
Wow, man. I actually seen a UFO the other night that looked like a submarine in the sky.
Yeah. Now, they call them submarines. Some people call them torpedoes. Some people call them cigar-shaped craft. There's, my dad, he was talking. This is one of the reasons why I got involved investigating UFOs. My dad was at work and they were having a tea break and they were outside, and my dad was talking to his friend. And my dad had 3 brothers that worked with him and their workmates, and they were all outside talking, and they were shouting and bawling going off. And my dad said, "What's going on?" And my dad looked over and said, "What's going on?" He said, "Oh, you missed it." He says, "This thing like a cigar shape went into clouds." He said, "You should have seen it, Jim. It was massive." And other guy said, "No, it wasn't a cigar shape." He says, "It would a torpedo. It looked like a torpedo, Jim." So when my dad came in, because it was like night shift, when he came in the next morning and we were sat down having his breakfast and talking to my mum, and I were around, I were only about 3 or 4. I'm listening to stories about UFOs, to a little kid that were unbelievable. Can you imagine, you're 4-year-old and your dad's talking, his brothers have seen a UFO at work, and then he used to come home and he had magazines sometimes and a book about UFOs and Bermuda Triangle and stuff. Amazing, amazing time that, and my dad really believed. And my dad knew that he'd seen me ill when these things had taken me, and one of the things was I had memory loss. And I honestly believe that the aliens had taken my memory, because one Sunday he'd been out and he'd got newspapers and we were sat and we were talking. I was reading newspaper, and my memory, I was reading and I couldn't read, and I could feel like my memory being taken from me. I couldn't talk. I started talking double Dutch, and my dad said, "Are you okay?" And I just said, "No." So he grabbed hold of me and he picked me up, right, yeah, and he took me to hospital in car, and he shouted and told me, "Mum, there's something wrong with Russ. I don't know what's up with him. He's really ill. I want to take him to hospital." I was in hospital for 3 days in an isolation ward, right, because the thought I was so ill that I could be dying, right? Anyway, I came around the 3rd day and they sent me home, but I had lost my memory.
Wow, man.
I've lost my memory. I'd remembered everything about being abducted. I had 100% recall. I could remember everything, where I'd been, the name of the aliens, the planet, from where the what, and I know that I wasn't supposed to talk about it. I know that I wasn't supposed to give their details away, but I started talking and I started telling stuff because I was scared. I was really scared. At one point, I was really scared. You know, they really, really did scare me. I'm not joking. My mum's seen it, my sister's seen it. I was a wreck. When I came back, I'd been taken and been in a battle. And when I came back, I was just, you know, I was not the same. So, you know, this is, like I say, this is the whole reason why I decided to set up a UFO group and to investigate UFOs, abductions, hoping that I would get a chance and to meet other people that had been abducted and had been taken and, you know, been put into a military unit like I had, and to find out how they were coping, because I wasn't coping. I'd lost friends. I didn't have my motorbike. I had a chopper. I couldn't even get on my motorbike anymore. You know what I mean? I was so ill. I was so poorly. I could not even put my leg over my motorbike and sit on it. I'd fall off. I lost about 6 stone. You know what I mean? I was really, really ill. And then obviously, as time has gone on, I've put weight back on, and then I've gone the other way, putting a load of weight back on. You know, but I mean, I'm here, I'm alive. What the hell? You know, you just got to get on with it. But, you know, the thing is, when you have something like that, you want to find out answers. You know?
Yeah, definitely, man. Now, is when you was like abducted and stuff, did you actually see like Bigfoot on the saucers and stuff?
No, I've never seen Bigfoot as such, but I have seen some crazy stuff, believe me. I've seen men 10 foot tall. I've seen 10 foot tall men with bull's heads, one with like a head of a horse. There's another guy like a fish, you know, lizards, you know, your typical, you know, like dragon, you know, dragos, what we call them, some people call them. Alien greys, tall aliens like greys, but blue. Now they were fighting alongside the Chinese, and they're bastards, pardon my French.
You're fine, man. You're good, man.
They're not nice, and they've got their technology's amazing.
Well,
The Chinese technology is as great as the aliens.
wow.
Their
That,
technology, you know. I know that they've run rings around us, you know, that we've really had trouble with them, you know. I mean, like, we use technology, which talking about Bigfoot and everything, which is strange. We use technology where we travel, right, teleportation with these 2 balls of light. Yeah. Now, before we used to be like, had his hands out and we travel with these 2 balls of light. Then we're at the side of these are at the side of us now. The last time we went out, because technology had come on, so we'd travel in the middle of these lights. Now, the thing is, what I'm reading and what I'm watching is that these Sasquatches, Bigfoots, there seems to be balls of light around wherever they are. Before they turn up, apparently there's either UFOs or balls of light, orbs around them. Have you come across that, Seth?
no, I've never seen a Bigfoot or them balls of lights, but I have seen makes twice that I've seen a UFO, and it was literally like 2 or 3 days ago that I seen that thing that looked like a submarine. It had like windows in it. It was weird. I could see the detail of it good, like windows, and just I remember just a bright light.
Wow,
Yeah.
that is
It
unbelievable.
was behind the mountain.
behind the mountain.
Yep.
So do you think it had come out of the sea? Or the lake, sorry.
Oh, there ain't no where this was, there ain't no lake, but I mean it is close to the lake. It is probably it's about 2 miles away from the lake. So I mean it's very possible.
2 miles away is nothing. Yeah. There's some school of thought that they say that they get the power from hydrogen, water, etc. So they come down and fill up and power up and then take off again. Which, I wouldn't put it past them. I would say, yeah.
Definitely.
That's quite a possibility, is that? So did it make the papers, this report?
No, I've not put it out or anything. It's the first time I'm actually talking about it. And yeah,
Right.
I will be telling some people about it, probably a local UFO group
Yeah.
and stuff. It's definitely very cool. I mean, it was only like a 5-second sighting. I could barely see it though, because where it was behind the trees mountain.
Wow.
But it's nothing I've
That's
ever seen before.
amazing. Say again, sorry.
I said it doesn't look like anything I've ever seen before. Like the first UFO I seen was in the daytime when I was 10 years old, and it was just a round thing. This one wasn't like that. This one was weird looking. Looked like a submarine in the sky.
Wow. That is amazing. That sounds like one of the craft that we travel in. We travel in those craft actually. That my unit, the aliens that take us, they use those type of vehicles. And the thing is that they're like a ball at first, right? And they can be small. You won't believe it, but they can just grow and then stretch. You know what I mean?
Was
And
there
just
like a really
massive.
bright light with it?
Say again?
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Was there like with the UFO that like when they abducted you, was it like a bright light like I was explaining with my sighting?
Um, Not really. No, no. You see, most of the time, I've been taken, and it's been a case of going down a tunnel. Now, what you've got to realise, and what I came to understand later on, right? Yeah, is that these craft, right, if they're like balls, like so, and they can elongate and stretch, and they become the submarine type. So, can you imagine a ball does that, right? Yeah, it's like a ball, and then it just gets bigger. But that's the front end. That's the front end of one of these craft, one of these torpedoes, or one of these submarine type. So it opens its front, and you go in. But the thing is, I'm driving down the road. I'm riding down the road on my chopper, and I'm going through. It's opened up, and I'm going inside it, and I'm thinking, I don't want to go inside there. Where's that come from? I'm putting my brakes on, slowing down, and I'm still going. I'm thinking, you know what I mean? I'm not stopping. I'm still going. I'm thinking, oh God, what's this? And then ending up inside and sat down and having these things injected into my neck and what have you. These tall, like humanoid figures. Not nice. Not nice at all. But so that is one of the reasons why I started my group, trying to find answers, for myself, for my sanity, really, and met other people. They've all had different things happen to them. My the person I work with investigating, So she's the co-investigator on my. They've got like this website, like our website and what have you. So she investigates. She's had things happen to her as well. You know, she was camping out and she came across something quite amazing. That's how I met her, talking about her experience. You know, quite amazing. You know, but I've heard other people as well talking about what had happened to them. And it's just incredible. Some of the things that actually happen to people, you know, some of the reports and things, and they're still happening today. And it's apparent that these things are having battles in the sky all over, you know, in the UK. I mean, it's like I filmed 2 flying triangles come out of a bay. Well, I live here in Filey. And whilst they're coming out of the sea, out of the bay, there's like lights coming down, seeming to like be like attacking them, you know. And then somebody I knew, he videoed about 10 mile, 15 mile down the coast, the same thing, where 2 flying triangles actually attacked a ball of light in the sky. And the ball of light is there, right? Yeah. And this flying triangle came and it did that. And it's the ball of light moved away from it and it moved towards it. And then it went like that. It rammed it. You know, it actually rammed it. What's going on? You know what I mean? It's like, what has got that capability, a craft, a triangular craft to reverse and to attack? You know? And then afterwards, this ball of light is coming down to the ground. This is about 40 minutes later, and it looks like rockets and missiles are shooting up at it from the ground. So it looks like there's dogfights going on around the skies over here in England. So, you know, you've got to ask yourself, is the same thing going on in America? Have you got the same things going on in America that we've got? A craft in the sky having dogfights with other craft. Is it a case of, is it aliens attacking other aliens, other alien craft, or is it a case of alien craft being attacked by our technology, our military, our air force? You know? So just what is going on? That is a big question. You know? And I mean, you know, we've spoken about the Berwyn Mountains. That is, you know, is something that I've got out, the truth out there showing this cover up, you know. But yet there's other things going on as we're sat talking now. You know, there's things going on. You've come across these bells, these ring doorbells, haven't you? Where they've got a video and it's watching anybody coming to your house, and it's a doorbell, yeah? Well, yeah. I've been given footage from this ring doorbell, and it's overlooking this area, these houses, and every night there's something going off. There's things going behind this house, and then something coming up from behind this house, and then something going up from other side. And these are not aircraft. They're not meteorites. You know, it's like, and the area over here in Manchester is known as Winter Hill. So there's some spectacular footage. I've got my website, But I'm going to put up later on some pictures on Facebook. You know, for sometimes people don't want to go on to YouTube and have a look. Sometimes they just want to click and see on, you know, on Facebook. And I don't have a group anymore because I'm sick of people just joining, you know, the group to attack each other. You know what I mean? It's like people just joining and all of a sudden putting stupid comments, you know, and trolling and, you know, basically putting some nasty things up, not only about the video footage, but about people. So now I've just decided I'm having no groups and I'll put up now and all my friends can see it. But I tell my friends, please don't be rude. You know, like if you don't believe it and it just, you know, like don't watch it, you know, sort of like, but there's no need to be rude and to, you know, is there really? You know what I'm saying? It's like, there's no need for it whatsoever. If you don't like, you know, me putting things up about UFOs or ghosts or whatever, you know, just delete it, you know, or just block me from sending you anything. That's what I say. But yeah, and then 3 weeks ago, I had a woman get in touch with me from an area on the East Coast where the North Sea is, and she filmed something like a rocket going up from the sea up into the sky. So that'll be going up on me YouTube and on my Facebook shortly. You know, I've put the report up. I think that was the 26th of January. You know, so the report's gone up on alieninvasionwales.com. If anybody wants to have a look, you know, there's UFO reports and pictures up there and what have you. But yeah, so there's you know, we've had quite a lot of UFO reports for January. You know, for January, we've had quite a few reports coming with video footage and photographs. So, you know, we've had a good start. I hope it's not going to be a case of we've had a good start and then there's going to be nothing the rest of the year. You know what I mean? I hope that it's going to continue. You know?
Absolutely, man.
But so you was 10 when you first saw your first UFO, did you say, Seth?
Oh, yeah, when I was 10 years old, yeah.
Wow. And so, I mean, obviously, is that what's inspired you to you know, to get a podcast out there to people to let them know what's going on?
Oh, the funny thing is, man, I created a podcast on accident. There was a local politician that wanted to do an interview, and I just had him on, and that's how my show started. But I mean, yeah, man, my love for UFOs definitely wouldn't be there if I didn't have that sighting for sure.
Well, that's good. That's good. And your friends, you know, chew bubblegum. Yeah, brilliant guys. Brilliant guys. Yeah. You know, I enjoyed that as well, you know. But yeah, so I know you was asking before about Bigfoot, and so you know, it's like not seeing a Bigfoot as such, like I say, you know, I've seen the other strange tall humanoid creatures with different heads on, you know, like bulls and horses and, you know, sort of like one like a fish and a dragon like a lizard, you know, one like a pig, you know, like a boar and what have you. You know, one that looked like a feline, you know, like a cat. One like not a dog as much as like a werewolf type. So I mean, what is going on?
The funny
Yeah.
thing is, man, here in the United States, we've been having a lot of dogman sightings here lately. That's very interesting you say that because we've been having a lot of dogman sightings, and these dogmen, some of them have been like 8 foot tall and stuff.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I've just been talking this past day. Somebody who's into cryptozoology, you know, and it would suggest that there's an increase of like dogmen or werewolves, reports of werewolves and what have you. Why all of a sudden, are we getting this? But where I live here, there's a great story. There's a village and there's a famous werewolf supposed to have been, around this area, and it is like it's a creepy place because it's like there's not much there. I think there's like a pub, you know what I mean? There's like one pub, and that's about it. And you would think, well, what's this werewolf doing around here? It makes you wonder, doesn't it? Of all the places, why would you have a werewolf, like just turning up around here locally?
Maybe where it's in the middle of nowhere, maybe it don't want to see people. I don't know. It might be why.
Well, yeah, this is it. But what do they live on? Do they eat humans?
Other animals, probably.
Well, yeah. It's something that I haven't really looked into it as much as. But the thing is, you can't do everything. You know what I mean? I'm investigating UFOs, aliens, abductions, and what have you. I know that I used to go out crop circling as well, and we've been looking at these sightings of big cats, these big cat sightings. But you cannot, I've done ghost hunting also, but you can only do so much. You know what I mean? You can only really do so much because you've only got so much time on your hands, But having said that, it's fantastic, going to all these different places and looking at these different things. I know that I think we're looking at a place called Winter Hill, where this ring doorbell, has been catching all these videos of these strange objects. And there's a lot of strange things that have been said going on around Winter Hill. There's been like aliens seen there, apparitions, ghosts. So I'm looking very, very much to the future to actually go with my girlfriend and actually have a look at this area, next few weeks, hopefully. But, there's other places like we've got this castle, Gurrick Castle, a haunted castle. And I would love to go there, but I am scared stiff of going inside. I'm not joking, Seth. No.
I don't blame you, man. Is it haunted?
Yeah. My friend used to stay there as a youngster. His friend, his mum and dad were the caretaker. And my friend said he had seen all sorts when he was younger. But it's one of these things where sometimes I think if you go to these places, you can bring things out with you and they can latch onto you.
Yeah. I'm a former
and
ghost hunter.
cause you mischief, and bad luck can, can really cause you bad luck. So I'm a little bit wary. I'm a little bit wary of going, because I know that this place, someone said that there will be nothing ever good came of this castle. It's a bit like a curse, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, that's why I'm a former ghost hunter.
Pardon?
I said that's why I'm a former ghost hunter, not a current one.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, it's like, what do you do? Sort of like it's one of these things where I would not want to risk, sort of like problems. Might sound really soft and what have you, like, oh, you're scared. And in a way, yeah, in that case, I am scared then, because, I do believe, I do believe that these things can cause you mischief, worse than mischief, So anyway, yeah, so we've got the other UFO investigations going on. So I've got a talk where I'm going to be talking about this book and what inspired me to write it, and the story about the landed craft at Sidot Road and these aliens. And we've got other investigations, really. We've got other investigations to sort out, which I can't wait, really. I can't wait,
Absolutely, man. I know you're excited for that. And man, I mean, when you've been abducted, has an alien, what have they said to you, man? If they've even said anything to you?
Oh, hell, of course I've said. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, this has gone on for like 30 years. So, it's like, I remembered everything. Everywhere we've been, the battles that have taken place, where they're from. I know that they don't like me talking about their race and where they're from, because they're really, how can I put it? They're having a bad time. They're being attacked, and they're trying to survive. That race of aliens are trying to survive, and there wasn't fighters. There weren't originally fighters. These were more your very scientific people. They were very friendly, scientific. They don't believe in war, and we help them. Now, there were people from their own race that decided that they had to do something. Now, what happened to them was that there was like shunned. So they became soldiers. So in a way, those soldiers, those aliens were shunned because they were going against their beliefs. But what do you do if you're trying to save your race of people? So that's why we came in and we helped them. So we're helping them fight this war. Now, where it all started, who knows? But apparently it was their own people that started to fight amongst themselves. And what happened was the basically split up. So there were two groups. So these are the same, but they just, wanted to take over, and they didn't agree with what they were doing, and whether it was because they were so peaceful, and they created all sorts. They created like humans that were half this, half that, half the other. You know, they had this ability to be able to make humans, you know, half animal, half human. And what they did was they got them to fight for them, you know, for that race of aliens, which were the same race, more or less. So there's been a battle amongst these and all these allies, these things that they've made to fight against its own people. But also because we brought in allies, or they brought in allies from Earth, they've decided to do the same thing as well. So, you know, it's like it's just out of hand. But this is one lot of aliens. Where did the other lot of aliens come from? You know, I never did get down to the bottom of it, you know, exactly, you know, who, what, and where. But I know they're telepathic, the aliens are telepathic. And they choose people from this planet, which are women, and most of the women are in the military and special units of like security, because they are telepathic also. And the reason why they pick them, choose them, is because the women, some of us, the blokes that are telepathic can tune in as well. But when their base is getting attacked, right, by the enemies, these enemies can teleport as well, right? Now, their security, because they're so good, they're tuned in, right? Yeah, they're telepaths, and they can tell where their enemies are gonna turn up and teleport. Sometimes 5, the good ones, the real good security, that are very good at being able to tell, that telepaths can tell 10 minutes before these things turn up, right? So that they've got them, that, you know what I mean? So there's a special weapon what they use. So if they turn up, bang, they've got them straight away. So that they are like specialists, and they have them around their actual base and on their planet, security looking after them. Imagine that. Imagine that an enemy can just be able to do that where you live, in your city or your town, or even your house. You know, can't be good, can it? You know, can't be good whatsoever, that. So you can understand why they've got people, you know, working alongside them, you know, like military, looking after them. Because basically, if you didn't have that, your race, your planet would be wiped out, wouldn't it? You know? So I don't know, it's very odd. It's very odd, but you know, this is just one race of aliens. What about the rest of them? Where do the others come from? You know, because I've met more, so where do they come into the grand scheme of things?
Good question.
You know, it would seem that there's a heck of a lot going on. It would seem that there's more than just, you know, 2 factions. You know, there's all the rest of them. Or did they create them? Did they create them? You know, I don't think so, because I think there's you know, aliens from different planets and I think from other different, universes. And then what they're saying is the dimensionals as well, things that aren't even from planets, but from different dimensions. Wow. When you think about it, it's just mind-boggling, isn't it, really?
Yeah, man. I couldn't imagine. It's mind blowing, man. Definitely.
It is. When you think about it, you're thinking, well, this is, no wonder there's so many different craft, because there's so many different races of aliens. I mean, if you have a look, it's like Heinz 57, isn't it? 57 varieties. There's you can see people have put up drawings and like photographs of the different aliens that they've seen and been abducted by. And then they've got all the different craft that they say that they've seen and been taken in, and, sort of like, and being on board different craft. So it's like, just makes you wonder, must be teeming out there. Sort of like, I know what I've seen and I know what have had happened to me. And like, it is mind blowing. It really is. So what about what everybody else has seen? Just makes you wonder, just, where are we? Is it ever going to stop? And I don't think it is.
Oh man. And last question I got for you is what planet, maybe you can't say this, but what planet was the aliens from that abducted you?
Yeah, well, I'm not supposed to say. I remember. That's something I do remember. I wouldn't say. I can't even tell you. I can't even tell you because it's been wiped. It's been wiped, and what they call the actual race. I know a nickname for it. I sort of like know a nickname for what they call their planet. But I wouldn't want to repeat it because I wouldn't want to put them in any danger. If you see what I mean.
Absolutely, man. And I do have to ask you this though, man. Does Mars have aliens on it?
Oh, hell yeah. Not only aliens, we've been on Mars. It's not at all like you think it is. You know what I mean? It's not red. You know what I mean? It's not really red as such. It's a bit like opaque. It is a tin, but there's soldiers on that planet. There's been battles going on there, same as the moon. And apparently all the planets had some form of life on all the planets. So, and some of them different types of like creatures, what you won't class as creatures, you know what I mean? It's a form of life, but it don't look like anything that you would call life because it's different. Yeah, if you see what I mean. But every single one has had life on. Every single one of those planets have had life on and still have on many of them. Believe me. And there's one like it's so hot because it's near the sun and it's like fire. It's a creature like fire. It's like really bizarre. But yeah, so I hope that's been of some interest to you, Seth.
Absolutely, man. And we definitely will have you on again, man, for sure.
Well, you're quite welcome, and hopefully I'll feel a bit better, and I won't have this damn toothache. Oh dear, I don't know. But thanks for having us on your show, Seth, and it's
Absolutely,
been
man.
great as usual.
Yes, sir. Thanks for being on, man. This has been the interview with UFO hunter Russ Kellett. I want to thank him for being on. Y'all have a good night, and God bless.